What's up, everybody? Glad to be back here on the Scouting Combine. I know I've been off for the summer, but I'm so glad to be back. We will be breaking down the Dolphins Chargers matchup. Today will be known as Tape Thursday. Although we don't have any film on the Chargers' new offense with Kellen Moore, we do have some Dolphin stuff with Vic Fangio. But one thing I wanted to notice, if you do follow myself and the Five Region Sports page on Twitter, we will be breaking down the 2021 Denver Broncos versus Dallas Cowboys game, in which Vic Fangio called the defensive plays for the Denver Broncos and Kellen Moore called the offensive plays for the Dallas Cowboys. This matchup is more so, Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore based on the defensive and offensive side of the ball because you have a brand new defense and a brand new offense versus Mike McDaniel year 2 offense and Brandon Staley year 3 defense. We'll go ahead and bring Alfredo Arteaga in. Alf, how we doing, bro?
Great. It's a football week finally, and there's an actual game today, a game that actually matters today.
I'm really, really excited for tonight's game. It's been a while. I don't know how my body will respond. I think it'll be in shock that we finally have real life, regular season, meaningful football in September between the Chiefs and the Lions. I'm really excited to see how this Lions offense with Jahmyr Gibbs does and how this Chiefs defense does without Chris Jones.
Absolutely. And not only that, but certain guys that are going to be going into their second years that should be better players. Trent McDuffie from the Chiefs comes to mind. I think he should be one of the premier cover corners in the NFL. And from the Lions, you just want to see all of these guys that they added in this offseason, see how it pans out. And I'm very interested in watching Brian Branch play tonight because I was a skeptic. I wasn't one of these guys that was prepared to take him in the first round, but I knew what a team was getting. A team was getting a starting NFL caliber safety that was capable of playing pretty much anywhere. And tonight he's going to have his hands full. I don't know if Travis Kelce is playing. That is not out yet. He's a game-time decision. But if he does play, that in itself will be a lot of fun to watch.
It will be a lot of fun to watch. But let's go ahead. Before we start breaking down this tape, Alf, when you watch this game, overall it was 30-16, but Vic Fangio really put the clamps on this Kellen Moore offense. They were up 30-0 in the third quarter in Dallas against Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and the Dallas Cowboys. What were your initial thoughts watching this game?
Yeah, and that was a division champion Dallas Cowboys that season, so that was a very, very good team. What I watched, and I remember watching it live, and I kept thinking to myself, man, Vic Fangio with these pressure 5 schemes are a problem for quarterbacks because he tends to want to induce throws and certain throws, and we're going to see it on the first play. Certain throws and certain reads are going to look easy, but then they become much more difficult at the snap. So, the Broncos just could not get over the hump offensively.
No,
but
they couldn't.
And they also faced
was okay that game.
Yeah, they also faced a huge rash of injuries that season. And had they not, maybe they would have been a fringe playoff team. But there wasn't much wrong with that defense when they were at full strength. When they were at full strength, they were one of the better defenses in the NFL.
I believe we may see, I don't think Von Miller was on that. I think he was injured for that game. We may see Bradley Chubb, Patrick Surtain, Justin Simmons, as well as some key players. Some guys comparable to the Dolphins players. We have some who are as talented. Obviously the Jalen Ramsey factor as well. He's not playing in this game; he's out. But if Jalen Ramsey was in this game, this would be a premier matchup where Jalen Ramsey would be the X factor in this game, just based off what this defense wants to do. So, Alf, why don't we go ahead? Let's get over to the first play. It is a cover 1 lurk concept. You have it up?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Okay. Are you going to add it to the stage or you want me to do it?
You do that.
All right. I'll go ahead and add it to the stage right here. This concept right here. All right. It looks like the Broncos have 1, 2, 3, 4, five defensive backs on the field. That is a nickel personnel base package. Go ahead and Alf, tell us what you see on the defensive line. What's their formation? It looks like it's a 40 front for my eyes.
It is. They're playing essentially a guy over the guard and one shading on the guard as a 3 tech, and then they have wide nines, right?
Right.
So that's pretty much like a base alignment. And the reason they're aligned that way is because they're on the right hash.
Mm-hmm.
If they were on the left hash, the alignment will be reversed. Now that's the predictable part of a Fangio defense. Pretty much any defense. Most defenses will line up that way, depending on which hash they are, and they'll play you a little bit more honest if it's in the middle hash.
Right.
What I see right here is that you got to begin with what they're trying to induce, what they're trying to show, and you could stop it right there. Okay, pre-snap, you couldn't tell what the guy up top, the one which is the widest receiver on the field side, you couldn't tell what kind of leverage he was going to get or what kind of coverage he was getting. But you do know pre-snap, the safety was right on the hash with the ball on the quarterback. So the simplest read is, you know what? We got man-to-man coverage on the outside, and we can throw a go route here if it's dialed up.
Right.
But we quickly learned that there's something else going on, and you can run
I'll
it.
go ahead and play it right now so we can watch it.
And there's you see the quick leverage change on the switch release. And
go back to it right now on the switch release. Up at the top, you see the first two wide receivers. It looks like CD Lamb and Amari Cooper. I think Amari's in the slot right there.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead and pause it for you so you see, boom, right there, the switch release. You see Amari going out wide. CD Lamb is going to work inside to confuse the defensive backs. Now you can see the slot cornerback right there. He's watching the receiver go inside, and he's also watching Dak Prescott. He's watching Dak Prescott's eyes. You're trying to see the switch release. Is he going to get open on the switch release? And there it was right there. The play was there. I'll go ahead and rewind it back for you guys to see one more time. Again, the Broncos are in nickel personnel, wide 9, 40 front. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the switch release up top right there.
And you could tell that they changed the leverage right at the snap, and Prescott read it. Now, where Prescott goes with the football is based on the leverage because he has space there. It's just a bad ball. It's a bad route. There's too much clutter. Okay? But look where the safety ended up post-snap. He got off of the hash and ran to the right hash. This could be a better view because you're going to see what Dak Prescott's actually seeing here. And run it. And he's throwing.
He looks off. Yeah, he looks off the switch release first. He looks at the leverage, and he goes, okay, my tight end running towards the left of your screen is going to get his space right there. I can throw that ball. Might be a contested catch, might not. But look how open he can be. Like, he's got a nice clean hole to throw it in. He throws it, but the ball is batted down. Now, I'm going to go a little bit back as well so we can go ahead and see.
I want you to. I want the viewers to see the route up top, the one. Okay, and let's be clear on how we so the terminology is straight. So I don't have to use 10 words. You can stop it. So I don't have to use 10 words when I can use one. The one is the farthest receiver out. The two is the guy inside of him. When it's going to be 3, I'm going to say trips, and then it's always 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm. Okay. Closer to the line is the higher the number. If you notice here, on up top, you have the leverage, outside leverage, and it's forcing it inside toward where the safety is. And you would think that's where the throw is, but run it, and I'll tell you when to stop it. Like, here's the switch release. Ball has to be kind of coming out right here. That's played very, very well by the slot corner.
Mm-hmm.
let it go, and there's just nothing there. Look where that safety ended up. The leverage on the outside, in conjunction with how the safety played it, snuffed out that switch release. When what you saw pre-snap was completely open.
Right. And I'll go ahead and explain the defensive terminology over here. So when we're talking about cover one, it's basically man coverage overall, and the safety is going to play whichever side he sees needs help where the leverage is going to be. He's going to be playing very, very deep. Now, this cover one lurk, what its terminology means is the safety. Obviously, he's going to be lurking in the defensive backfield. He's not gonna come up at the line of scrimmage. But what's important here in cover one lurk is the rat player. Now, right here, the rat player is Patrick Surtain. Now, what does the rat player means? It means he plays the middle of the field and looks to help other players in man coverage with crossing routes. So, up at the very top where CD Lamb and Amari Cooper is, it looks like the defensive backs, are playing, they look like they're going to be playing zone, but actually they're playing man match. CD Lamb is matched up with the top corner over there. I believe that might be AJ Bouye. The slot corner is also playing man coverage. Patrick Surtain is the rat player over here. He's going to be playing man coverage with, I believe, is the tight end Dalton Schultz. Now, usually the rat player, he takes middle of the field crossing routes, and these linebackers, they're just going to sit back and watch. They're going to look at the tight end. They're going to look at the running back. I believe the mic has the tight end, and the weak side. The weak side linebacker has the tight end, and the mic has the running back right there. I may have gotten my terminology a little bit confused, but watch how Patrick Surtain, he's the rat in this play, how he covers up Dalton Schultz, and where he's looking at Dak Prescott to throw the ball. I'll run it one more time. Right there. He's like, okay, it's a crossing route. I have to get towards the middle. Now you see the linebacker. He's like, okay, I'm dropping. The tight end has already released. He's going vertical right then and there. So let me go ahead and watch Dak Prescott help out Patrick Surtain over there and make sure he doesn't hit this crossing route. Now we see the linebacker and Dalton Schultz get bumped up. And if there was no bump right there, Alf, he could have been open for that catchable ball, or the ball could have been catchable right then and there. But it allowed him to retain a close in and get a pass breakup.
Yeah, they're running some type of mesh concept right there, which, Dak wants to throw it right on the break, but he doesn't. He waits for it to kind of develop. He has decent protection. So, he waits for it, and then he's just going to try to put it on him. But
right,
you could count the numbers there. Two pass receivers for three defenders underneath. It's well covered, well disguised pre-snap. I think we can move on. It's what makes this concept really, really, well designed is what they're showing pre-snap. What they're showing pre-snap is a soft cover one, even man match, and like I said, the easiest read is just audible for a go route up top, and you should have it 1-on-1. But that's not necessarily what they have, because you could see the leverage that they played. They actually did take it away.
All right. Are you able to see my screen right here? Mm-hmm. This is also a cover one alert concept right here. So you see Verone McKinley up at the very top, right across from Holland. Over here, we'll go ahead and play this clip. I believe this was also a switch release play we're seeing drawn up by Doug Peterson. We saw on the first play also Kellen Moore. He drew up a switch release for these wide receivers to get free. Now over here, these linebackers, you're going to see, I think, Jerome Baker and Andrew Van Ginkel. They're going to combo the running back. I think Travis Etienne and Evan Ingram is in the backfield. Evan Ingram is actually going to motion out right here, I believe. Yep, there's the motion. And look at where Holland was. Look at where Holland was pre-snap, okay? He's at the very top. And Alf, you and I talked about this. He's anticipating something. Why is he walking up at the line? He's like, oh, look, motion. I'm going to have to get the motion man, right? Do I take the flat? Is he going to be going vertical? What's going to happen right here? You're going to see Verone McKinley go deep. It looks like he's like, okay, I think it's going to be it's a vertical route with Calvin Ridley, and he's going to be going either very vertical or post. He's watching where Trevor Lawrence wants to throw the ball. I'll go ahead and run it one more time. There it is. On the switch release, Trevor Lawrence saw the switch release being open, and he threw it at the spot right there. Kader Kohu was watching him the entire time. Could have been a better ball, but the sideline was there. Alf, what were your thoughts on that play?
Yeah, it's well played by Holland. You want to see him get a little flatter because you kind of want to induce that throw since you are abandoning your deep quarter. You kind of want to induce that throw to Evan Ingram, especially for down and distance. Right. So as far as how he played it, Javon Holland played it fine. I would have preferred if he plays it a little bit flatter. If he plays it a little flatter, he induces the throw, I believe, because I don't think that Trevor Lawrence sees him. I think he sees him behind the switch release.
All right.
So he might think that the numbers are against him on the wheel. So he might throw the smoke to Evan Ingram. So you want to induce that throw to Evan Ingram right there. So if I were Javon Holland, get a little flatter, and you probably induce that throw. Then, of course, you just got to rally and tackle.
Right. Now what we're going to talk about fire zone, the fire zone concept right here. I'm going to go ahead and share it on my screen. Are you able to see it, Alf? Or is everyone else able to see it?
Yes.
Not, let me know. Okay. Fire zone. What is a fire zone, Alf? Okay. It's basically cover 3. But what happens is you're rushing 5 people. That's what a fire zone is. But there's also different variations of fire zone. You usually have 2 of your edge rushers rushing. You have your inside defensive lineman stunting. And you have a linebacker, usually either your Mike or your weak side linebacker, going through the B gap to get pressure on the quarterback. Now, what does this mean for the Mike linebacker and the secondary? What are they going to be playing? So the Mike linebacker is going to be playing a hook. He's going to be watching for crossers, anything over the middle. One of your free safety, if you're playing in a nickel personnel, one of your safeties is going to be taking the seams and the flat. You see over there, the number 2, where the free safety is with the purple. He's going to be taking the seams. He's going to be taking the flat. And this is primarily in shotgun formation. He's going to be taking the Y receiver. Your nickel is also going to be taking the seams and the flat. He's usually covered by the slot receiver. He watches anybody that will be taking the flat zone or the seam zone. And if they are in the zone, if the slot receiver runs into that zone, he matches him and runs with them for wherever he's going to be. Your deep safety, he's going to be playing the third of the field, middle of the field, anything deep. If he sees an inside first, he takes the inside, then he takes the out. He looks at where the quarterback is going to be throwing. Is the quarterback looking inside? He's going to move there. Is the quarterback looking outside? He's going to move down there. Your outside corners play third unless they go they play third and they play man match right there. Right up until the receiver leaves the zone and they run with them right there. Alf, you have anything else you need to add on to this?
Yeah, as far as the rush, it could be almost anything. It could be a 2-by-1. It could be a 3-by-1 blitz. It could be almost anything. You could even send one of the safeties and then drop a lineman into the short zone. Yep. You could also do that. But what's most important when you run fire zone, okay? And some people will call it pressure 5. And, pressure 5 cover 6 is the terminology for the base. Like that's the base of a fire zone. If you call pressure 5 cover 6, it is exactly how it sounds. You're sending 5 rushers and you're covering with 6. How are you covering with 6? It could be match man. It could be quarters, because you do have the numbers. And it could be what it usually is, which is 3 men under, 3 deep. Okay? And
3 deep, 4 rushers.
And the rules for that are very, very simple. They're always the same rules for 3 deep, which means your outside corners have their deep halves. Their deep quarters. And then you have your deep third, and then you have your deep safety, which is he's going to bounce out of usually what looks like cover 2 into a cover one, and he's going to get the deep middle.
Right.
But then the other safety is actually going to take either, depending on the rules, if it's on the field side, and remember that the field side is the long part of the field, okay? Or the play side, which is the short part of the field. If it's the play side, that safety is actually going to take the middle. But if it's the field side, that safety might have to take the flat.
Right.
So it depends on whatever the rules are in that instance. And also your mic is either taking the deep middle or he's taking the flat, and that has to be coordinated. But you got to have 3 men under and 3 men over. The 3 men over are essentially playing cover 3.
Yeah.
And
right
the 3
here,
men under, and the 3 men under, one has the flat, one has the intermediate zone, and the other one has the other intermediate zone.
Yeah, see
but
right
always here. To the field side. To the field side, there must be a player as a force player in case they run it, and on the flat in case they do an outlet pass. So there's always a player on the flat to the field side.
Always a player in the flat. And in this clip over here, you're going to see Jalen Phillips drop into coverage. This fire zone package is called Creeper Rush Whip. You have 4 rushers, 4 defenders playing under, and 3 deep. Andrew Van Ginkel is going to be rushing here. Jalen Phillips drops as the hook defender takes care of the seams in the flats. Cater Cohu and Verone McKinley take care of the seams in the flats. Javon Holling, Xavier Howard, Noah Bonagni play that cover 3. Look, we'll go ahead and run it for you right here. You see Andrew Van Ginkel, boom, right off the snap. Takes it, goes for it. Look at Jalen Phillips. Right over there. He's like, okay, I'm going to act as if I'm going to rush. Boom, drops right then and there. What Trevor Lawrence is looking at right here, he sees, okay, everybody's covering. I have Bradley Chubb coming right at me right here. Do I throw the flat or do I throw it to Evan Ingram? It looks like Evan Ingram might catch the ball, but then I have Jalen Phillips who could come and go for a PBU and tackle him right then and there. Is Tank Bigsby, not Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby going to look at me? Go ahead and run it one more time. Throws it way deep. Boom. Right there. Over Noah Bonagni. He's like, let me just trust my guy. Let me trust Calvin Ridley to go away and catch him. It was incomplete.
By the way, Phillips had to get flat there, and he did it. So that was miscommunication. But the rush was well disguised, and it actually got there. Like the rush was well disguised and well executed. The coverage was not. And not that, they got beat, because actually Noah Bonagni, if he plays the correct leverage, he might even have a play on this ball. Yeah. And let's be real about this. I watched this play a million times. I don't know if he actually caught it anyway. But yeah, you got to get flat there. That was a mistake as far as in coverage. Somebody has to be out on the flat. And as I'm looking at it again, yeah, there he comes. And it's Duke Riley. Like, I don't know why Duke Riley. I guess Duke Riley saw Lawrence and wanted to react to Evan Ingram and thought he could get out to the flat. But you kind of want Duke Riley to get flat and get out to the flat to take away that outlet pass to Tank Bigsby, because he's actually leaving his zone wide open.
All right, we'll go ahead and put it up on the Cowboys-Broncos feed right here. Single back formation. Defensively, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive backs here on the field. Nickel package looks like the DB is rushing in right there. Ooh, almost got him. Looks like the rush almost got home. Dak Prescott had to get out of the pocket. I'll pause it right then and there. Alf, what do you see on the defensive line?
On the defensive line, it's like I said, they're on the left hash, so they're going to line up exactly the same way that they always line up when it's this front. So that's nothing new. Like, that's normal. Like, remember, always to the play side, it's head up on the guard. Then you got a 3-tech to the field side, always. And then it's wide 9, although in this case they're pinching. And the reason that they're pinching is because there's an inline tight end. So that's why they're pinching. But as far as the coverage, it's kind of boilerplate. Like that's very, very normal as far as what you would call on a fire zone. It's that cover that cover 6, 3-man under, 3 deep. And they play it exactly the same way that the Dolphins played it. And as you can see, the force player also gets sucked in. Like I don't know why that is. And he actually gives up his zone of responsibility. He finally gets out there late. They make a play on it, but it's a mistake again. So I guess it's that backside backer is always gonna try to lurk to see if he picks up that guy across the middle, but he has to get out there to the flat, and because the action is taking him there. You see, for who is he covering? You see him as 54. 54 has to be out on the flat. Look at 54. He's reading his key.
He gets caught right there.
Oh, it's actually 56. 56. Like, what is 56 doing? The short motion came over, and he's pass blocking, which is Dalton Schultz. He has to get out to the flat, and he just he wanders out in the middle of nowhere doing nothing.
He gets caught on the play action fake. That's why.
Yeah, but he has to read that and either come. But you see, look at he actually. Very late. Not only does he go very, very late, he goes to do his responsibility when the quarterback escapes to the opposite way.
Yeah.
So like right there, you see how he has to get out to the flat. He has no other responsibility except the man coming over and put it pre-snap to see if he is actually motioned by the mic. Because usually the mic, when he sees that motion coming across the formation, put it from the beginning.
Yeah, I'm trying to put it right here. There we go.
Like, let's see where the mic is.
Okay, right here. Okay, go ahead and run it.
Okay, here comes the motion. No, the mic never even calls it out. The mic has to actually call him out. Like, yo, you got the flat. Look at the cross motion. So yeah, that's on the mic. That's on the mic, but also 56. Like, you got to be more aware, buddy. Like, that's just not good football. That's not good defensive football, at least.
So in this case, the Dolphins depth chart did come over. This would be Jerome Baker's primary responsibility as the Mike linebacker to communicate to Andrew Van Ginkel, to communicate to Duke Riley, to communicate to Channing Tindall if he's on the field, what exactly your responsibility is. All right.
And by the way, that's something that Mike McDaniel talks about all the time when he's putting together his offense. He wants that motion to be fast and decisive.
Yeah.
Especially with somebody like Tyreek, because that's really, really, really it's gonna pull a guy out of the box. It's gonna move a safety almost every single time. This time it's number one coming across. Do you know who number one is?
Yeah, Cedric Wilson.
Yes, it's Cedric Wilson, and they absolutely ignore him, which is a mistake. Like it's a miracle Dak didn't just throw that out there when he saw 56 hold. Like I don't know what 56 was doing, but like that's bad tape right there.
All right, since we talked about cover one as well, this cover one is called Cheat 9. It's basically just a term for where the deep safety is the rat. He actually comes down to the middle of the field and grabs any middle of the field passes, those crossers, those slants. It's a 3x1 trips. Look over here. Alf, what do you see on the defensive line right now?
I'm pulling it up right now. Okay. It's at 46-52. And I'm going to get it right here, and so I can run it on my end. All right, I got it right here. Yeah, it's a 3x1 set. So the 3x1 sets, they're going to play it a lot more honest. And Dak is, remember, they're on the right hash. Look at where the safety is on the other hash. He's on it, which is where he's supposed to be. Look where the safety is on this side. So so he's almost by the numbers. So Dak immediately, by this coverage, what Vic Fangio is trying to dictate to Kellen Moore and to Dak Prescott is you don't have this guy down here. Okay, which is, I believe that's CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, that's CeeDee Lamb over there.
Okay.
But now we're talking about this in the Cowboys context. If this was Justin Herbert, how would you play this?
Much more honest. Like you put both safeties right on the hash to give Herbert no way to lean. So that way Herbert has to actually go through the progression. Here, they're trying to dictate to Dak. You do not have the play side play to CeeDee Lamb. Whatever you have out there, it's not yours. You will not get it because look where we're playing our safety. So they're inducing something to go the other way. And when you're talking about the other way, remember, you have on the line, you have what looks like another pressure 5, right?
Right.
If they drop one, then you got your flat player and you got your force player.
Right.
And then you have numbers up top. You have 3 pass receivers for 4 defenders.
Ready to run it?
Yeah, run it. This is very, very well called as far like this is when you hit bingo. When you see this pre-snap, and you can stop it right here. When you're the defensive coordinator and you send in the call, you're looking at the personnel that's coming in for the offense. And obviously what they saw was, okay, 11 personnel is in for the Dallas Cowboys. All right, I'm calling this. When you call this and you see that formation, that's when you're, as a defensive coordinator, you look at it and you're like, damn, I nailed it. You got the right coverage for the right play.
They're all playing man, all covered up except for the tight end. And you said it right there. You're not getting CeeDee Lamb.
Yep. Beautiful, beautiful, outside leverage with the safety right on the hash after post snap. CeeDee Lamb that was not going to be. That's not a pass you're going to make to CeeDee Lamb.
And Dak Prescott, said he threw to Cedric Wilson. Wilson had his hands on the ball right then and there. Dude, let me tell you, this game was so many contested catches. It was so tight for what Dak had to throw. We'll go ahead and look at it what Dak or what Justin Herbert would be looking at if they come in a trips personnel, 3-by-1, 11 personnel. And, Vic Fangio calls, cover 1, cheat 9, let's do it. Okay. I'll stop it right there. He's looking. He's like, okay, I'm going to have Cedric Wilson there. Let me try to drop it in the bucket. Let me try it. Gets his hands on it. Didn't come forward. Didn't come clean with it. Did not come clean with it. That was actually really, really well played. Now we'll go ahead talking to the cover 8, cover 6 stuff right here. I believe cover 8 was 55-14. Let me see if I can pull it up. Right there, 55-11 should be good enough. Right there. All right, when we're talking about cover 8, it's basically match zone with man-to-man principles. You have your strong safety playing, deep half. He's going to be playing number 1 and number 2 over here. So I'm taking the deep safety is right there by the 30-yard line at your top left. I'll go ahead. Your weak side safety will be playing the vertical at your bottom right in between the numbers where CeeDee Lamb is going to be. Your weak side linebacker is going to be playing the flat. He's playing quarter flat. Your Mike linebacker, he's going to be the hook defender, and he's going to be carrying any vertical routes that the halfback or the running back will be playing, while your nickel will also be taking any vertical. You have 2 variations of this play. You have stuff, which is you have the nickel on the strong side, or you have pack, where the nickel is more so along the weak side. Your outside corner are going to play this 2 very differently. Your first outside corner, when you're playing strong, when you're playing stuff on the strong side, your outside corner is going to squat. He's going to press and make sure his number 1, his primary receiver, the X receiver, does not get to go to his route. He's going to get handsy on with him. Whereas your weak side cornerback, he's going to be playing quarters. He's going to be taking, if there's anything vertical, he's going to let his Z receiver, the number 2 receiver, run his route and see if that wide receiver takes that inside leverage and goes, either on an inside route, a crosser, or a slant, and which side the weak side linebacker would it be covering. I'll go ahead, put it up on here as well, so you can see it over here. Are you able to see this, Alf?
Yeah, I got it.
There you go. That's the cover 8 principle right there. You want to go ahead and explain it one more time, Alf?
Yeah, and I'll explain this, so people can understand it. it's the same rules depending on the hash. You see how they're lined up right there with one cornerback squatting, and then put back the diagram.
Okay.
So people can see it. Okay, you see how you got one safety is taking a deep third, and then you have the cornerback squatting. Okay, you're trying to induce the whole shot right there. That's to the now right here. You see it's lined up in the middle of the field, right? So
I'll go ahead.
You don't know which way it's going, right? But let's say it's on the left hash. Okay, your cornerback is squatting to the play side, and your cornerback is carrying to the field side all the time. Those rules do not change in this coverage. So how you see it drawn up right there, it's as if the ball is on the left hash. If the ball were on the right hash, it would be reversed.
Right. Those would just be flipped.
Yeah, it would just be flipped. So you would flip the coverage. And those rules do not change, will never change. That's, it's since time immemorial. You're trying to induce the whole shot.
The rules right there too. I have it written.
Yeah.
Down.
Yeah. And so somebody like Justin Herbert, you do this knowing full well that if he recognizes it, he might try to make that throw. Now, if you could have Xavier Howard carrying the receiver on that side, maybe you have a contested pass. If he's squatting on that side, he might drift and intercept it, depending on the route. So it's a tricky play. Most quarterbacks hate trying to do that whole shot because it's pretty difficult. So they'll play to almost always to the field side when they see this coverage. But it's well disguised again here because you can see the leverage. Like you can't tell what it looks like the way by alignment that they're going to have inside leverage. And this looks like the way they're aligned. It looks like it's going to be middle of the field closed.
Right.
But we could run it and see if it actually is middle of the field closed or not.
We'll go ahead, run it. Trips, 11 personnel right there. You have 3 wide receivers to one side. CD Lamb is the X receiver right there, or I'm sorry, he should be the Z receiver, not the X. CD Lamb is the Z receiver right there. Go ahead and run it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the route concepts right here as well. I'll go ahead and pause it. Stop. Immediately you see somebody go inside. You see the weak side linebacker. He's going to move in to try and make sure nothing gets over the middle of the field. You see the X receiver right there. He's going vertical. The slot receiver right there looks like he's carrying the vertical. And it looks like he's going to do an outside post. And CD Lamb is just going a straight vertical as well. Looks like the halfback is running. He's going vertical, then is going to be taking the flat.
And by the way, it's middle of the field open.
Yeah, middle of the field is open.
Yeah, so they lined up to show middle of the field closed, but it's actually middle of the field open. So, and you can tell look, and it's a quick, easy way to notice one way or the other. It's the leverage. You want to see whoever the force player is, like right here, the force player, remember, is always the extra defender outside of the hash. Okay? Right. So where's the force defender? So outside of the hash, up top, no, he's matched. The second guy in the slot, no, he's matched. There's your force defender. No, he's also matched. So your force defender is over here, which is the play side safety. The play side safety is your force defender. And the way he's playing, you can see with the leverage he's playing, it's middle of the field open.
Right.
So, yeah, this would have been one of those nice plays where Dallas probably looked at this on Monday and said, you know what, if we would have had a crosser right here, we would have popped the guy right across the formation.
Right.
But evidently they didn't.
Now, if you're Justin Herbert, are you throwing the middle of the field or are you going for that deep route?
I think Justin Herbert is going to read it the way he read it pre-snap. Is not going to take chances because you really do need a lot of time. You're going to need probably all of 2.5.
CD Lamb caught that ball too,
which is incredible.
Yeah,
but he's that good. Like you really do need all of 2.5 seconds to actually figure it out. And most quarterbacks don't have that to just sit there and actually spot the leverage.
Justin Herbert might. He has a new and improved offensive line now.
We shall see. Trey Pipkins has to block Jalen Phillips all game.
That's true. That is very true.
And the right guard, we were talking about him today on our preview. He's going to have to match up with Zach Sealer and Kristen Wilkins, and that's going to be a chore for him.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead, share something as well. This was also a cover. This wasn't a cover 8, but we're going to talk about cover 6 soon. This is something Tua saw against the Texans, and they played cover 6 right here. This was actually the Durham Smythe ball. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can place it on here. All right. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. It looks like Texans are playing, zone trips, 3-by-1 formation. The Dolphins, Mike McDaniel calls a flood concept, and Tua has to read the leverage right here. So I'll go ahead, play it at first, and I'll pause it. Okay, stop right there. You can see the outside wide receiver. He's gonna be playing the hitch. Berrios, it looks like he's working upfield, and then he's going to cut inside. And Durham Smythe also plays the hitch. But watch how Durham Smythe plays the hitch. He's reading the leverage of what the defensive back is doing, okay? Just watch Durham Smythe right there in the slot. Runs upfield, right? He's like, okay, you're playing zone. He's trying to watch Tua. Let me bump this defensive back, get some separation, moves him to the side, and look at what Tua's reading as well. He's like, okay, let me see. Boom, right there. Reads it, okay? He's like, okay. Outside wide receiver is going to be going vertical. Berrios hasn't taken his step yet. I know Smythe's going to take his hitch. He's already got that separation on him. He pushes him. He's like, okay, time for the release because I know what he's going to do. Releases. Boom, catchable ball right there on a cover 6. I'll show you this motion right here, what Tua is seeing. This was a really, really good play by Durham Smythe over here. Really good connection off. Really, really good.
Mm-hmm. And that's all made by the leverage. They're reading the leverage. And if you go back and go right back to before the release.
Right here.
But the God view. Put the
right here before the release.
You can see the leverage. It's middle of the field closed, and Tua defeats it. He throws away from the leverage. This is what he refused to do against the Chargers last year. He was trying to have guys run across the face of leverage, and quite honestly, they just did not have the juice in that game. Maybe it was the 2 games inside of 8 days, but they just didn't have the legs to get open for Tua that day. And Tua was just forcing way too much stuff. But this is very well played. You saw the leverage. You throw away from the leverage. Good things will happen.
Right. We'll go ahead and talk about cover 6 stuff. I'm going to go ahead and put up the rules right here. Give me 1 second. That's not it. That's cover 8. This is cover 6 nickel stuff in a nickel formation. On the defensive line, you have wide 9, your interior, they're playing 3 tech. They're over shading the B gaps right then and there. Your nickel, he's going to be playing quarters. He carries if he keys on what the slot receiver is doing, he's going to be taking the flat. If not, he carries the vertical. The Mike linebacker, he takes the vertical hook and is taking any crossing routes coming from the slot and from this inside wide receiver. This is big.
And let me be clear, the will on in this almost always, and it's, by the way, it's the same rules. Left hash, you understand how it works. If you're on the left hash, your cornerback to that side, remember the cornerback to the play side is always squatting. The cornerback to the field side is carrying the receiver. Those rules never, ever, ever change, and they flip-flop. They flip when depending on which hash you are. But the will in this defense, especially when you have 4 at the line. The will in this defense sometimes is on or off, and he'll determine this. The mic will determine this for him. He'll tell him you're on or you're off. If you're on, it means that he's in the coverage package because he's covered by a receiver.
Yeah.
If he tells him you're off, it means that he's completely uncovered. So he might get into the pass rush. So that's one of those things that he's going to decide at the snap. And sometimes it'll be him. Sometimes it'll be the safety that calls it, or it could be the mic that will tell him, hey, you're on or you're off, you know?
Right. This is basically a Roy Lou concept in cover 6. You're playing quarter, half. This call is weak away from the nickel, which changes if the nickel runs through with the middle of the field motion. The defensive line, they just have to execute their front. The Mike linebacker, again, middle hook away from the Roy Lou call. Dime backer takes the vertical curl if there's anything like that. Nickel, he aligns to the passing strength, runs with the motion, plays the quarter flat technique. Safeties, if they're playing deep half, it's a possible read. If it's away, they play a quarter. Now, we already talked about the corners, squat technique, and quarter technique as well. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get the play. Cover 6 was an hour and 7 minutes. Let me see if I can put it on there. Hour, 7 minutes. This is basically, the game is basically away right here. I'm going to go ahead and play it. It's the first play of the game. First drive. And by the way, Travis Kelce is out tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. He's gonna try another before kickoff. Looks like he has a bone bruise. All right, cover 6 stuff. 107 right here. Go ahead and see if I can pause it right there so we can watch it pre-snap. And thank you guys for sticking around and joining with us. I know it's a lot of information to digest, but if you're learning, taking these things in, you're going to see how this Chargers offense faces off up against, Fangio's Dolphins defense. You get to see the intricacies, and you're more so in tune with it. Okay, trips 3x1, 11 personnel. Alf, you have your 9 techs out wide. You have your 3 techs shading over the guards in the B gap. Look at what the linebackers are doing, all right? It looks like he's communicating right then and there. Okay, he tells the nickel defender, watch out for the motion. There's the motion by Ezekiel Elliott. It's empty formation. Alf, what are you seeing post snap now?
Post snap, what I'm seeing is if I am Dak, I'm looking at those 2 inside backers, and I'm seeing that they're kind of hugging the hash, and I know that it's cover 6 4-man under. So I'm trying to test the seam here, and I'm trying to test the safety. I'm trying to throw behind these linebackers. Just what I see right here post snap with the linebackers.
Okay, go ahead and run it. Washed out. He's still trying to make a play. Something. Couldn't get it.
Yeah, but let's run it again from the beginning so we can see the coverage and the God view. So, yeah, it's interesting right here. You can run it, and I'll tell you when to stop.
Right there.
Okay, it's interesting what they did right here. Look at the leverage that the Broncos are playing with.
Mm-hmm.
It's all middle of the field open.
Yeah.
So
hold on, Alf. Before you go on this explanation, I want to remind our viewers, and I spoke to Alf about this as well. Vic Fangio, since 2014, has one of the highest rates of leaving the middle of the field open. That's just what his scheme calls for. Now, the thing is, not a lot of quarterbacks are willing to throw over the middle of the field just because of how crowded it can get, and there's possibility for getting the ball batted. There's a potential pick situation, and you're mainly reading your keys on the outside as well. Like, you need that time, you need that quick decision making, and you need to have your offensive line hold to make those middle of the field throws. That's one of the reasons why Vic Fangio's defense is the way that it is, because it leaves the middle of the field open and it makes it harder for the quarterbacks to read. So, Alf, what's like when you're seeing this, and UNCK did a little bit of film study on the Chargers as well on 3 yards per carry. By the way, if you're not on 3 yards per carry, $3 a month, pretty good. You get
On
a lot
OnlyFans. On OnlyFans.
on OnlyFans. On OnlyFans. My apologies, but if you're Justin Herbert, you're playing this against Herbert. Are you doing this the exact same way?
No, I think that you're switching it up on him, just like Vic Fangio switched it up on Tua in 2000. Actually, in 2020. So when Vic Fangio played a lot, and I mean a lot, almost incessantly, middle of the field closed, cover 6 against Tua, and he kept bringing pressure 5 over and over and over and over again. If you saw the film of that tape, if you saw the film of that game, you saw what Fangio was asking Tua to do, and it's something that Tua must do and will have to do on Sunday to make teams pay for playing this coverage, and that is throw a corner route. And you have the guys to do it. You throw a corner route, they'll get out of that because corner routes tend to go a long way. They're either 30-yard chunks or they're touchdowns. So, it's this is really interesting of how they play Kellen Moore, because Kellen Moore likes to throw outside the numbers. Like, that's Kellen Moore offense. A Kellen Moore offense is going to throw outside the hash, outside the numbers. So what did Vic Fangio do? He said, look, I'm going to take away everything that you like to do outside the numbers. I'm getting rid of all of that.
Right.
And I'm going to force you to play a little bit differently. And the Cowboys just never adjusted. And that's something that usually happens to an NFC team when they're facing an AFC team for the first time. And the AFC team is actually pretty keyed up for the game. And the NFC team, let's just say, lacked preparation for that game.
All right, Alf. What if, Kellen Moore switches up? He's like, I watched a lot of that tape. Maybe they're basing it off of this defense, like how we're thinking about how this matchup is going to go. He's like, forget every single vertical concept. I'm going to throw the middle of the field. Now what do you do?
Well, you could switch up coverages on them, or you could just keep dropping people into the short zone, and you just make it really, really, really crowded. Now, I think they won't do that. I think what they'll do is that they're just going to they're going to try to run their offense, and they're going to install their safety valves on every single play. So it could be as simple as Justin Herbert is just going to go back to pass. He's going to see coverages are a little tight or a little tricky, or leverage is not defined. And then he's just going to sense that clock in his head, like, you know what? Somebody must be here like any millisecond now, either Phillips or Chubb. I'm dumping this off to Eckler over and over and over again. And like I said on the preview, the matchup to watch on the Dolphins defensive end versus the Chargers offensive end, it's Holland versus Gerald Everett. They love to go to him on third down. And I believe you're going to see him in man coverage most of the game with Gerald Everett. And he wins that matchup. That's right away, you're taking away one thing that Herbert will want to do against these coverages, because it's simple for him. It's easy for him.
All right. Well, this was a great Chalk Talk, great breakdown on this tape 30. Hope you guys watching also enjoyed. Alfredo, thank you so much for joining. I hope you guys understood what we were talking about. Hopefully we can do this every single Thursday. After week 1, we can break down more of the defense and offensive concepts. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Fins up, everybody.